Hey moms, it's Katie here with the State Project, and I am super excited because we have Yvonne with us from California. Say hello, Yvonne.
Hello.
And now let's just jump right into it, my friend. So, what part of California are you from?
We're from Southern California.
Okay, so like the San Diego area, or
I grew up in San Diego. We met and got married in, where Ventura County is?
sounds familiar?
Just south of Santa Barbara.
Okay,
We were originally from Ojai, so it's a little fancy town down below there. So yeah.
nice. So why Arizona?
Uh, I just fell in love with it. We came out here for a visit before we got married, and we got married the 2 days before the Los Angeles riots.
Oh,
And we lived within minutes from the epicenter. So after that point, we were luckily we weren't there. We were on our honeymoon. So after that point, I said, you know what, I just want to get out of here and I want to go somewhere else. So let's go to Arizona. So we moved here. We had one of our kids here. We moved back to California because of family. And then after our second one was born, we moved back to Arizona. And then eventually then we had number 3, and then we eventually moved back to California. Had number 4, bounced around to Florida for a few years, and then ended up back here. I love it here. It's home. I was homesick every time we left.
oh. Well, I
So
absolutely agree with you. I'm from New England, and I'd never go back either. It's home to
yeah.
me. So the first time with the kids, let's go back to that. Um,
Yeah.
how long did it take for you to move out here? Like, when did you start making arrangements and start preparing? How long was that?
It was pretty quick. Once we decide to make a decision like that to move, we go. We don't mess around. It's one of those things where, when we know it's right to do it, we just do it.
Hmm.
So maybe a couple months, depending on whether we had a house to sell, because we've bought and sold houses, we've fixed them up, we've flipped them, other things like that over the years. So it depends, but not very long.
So you had a house to sell, so you had to prepare for that, get it on the market, all of that jazz. And then when you
Impact.
came to Arizona, did you rent first or did you purchase right away?
It depended on which move. We are currently in our third new build.
Oh wow.
We built once in Mesa, and we built another time in Queen Creek. And we had kids during these builds, so we would move into an apartment with all the kids and wait for the houses to be built and then move in. So yeah.
Gotcha. What special arrangements did you make when you were moving here? Specifically, like family arrangements, kind of centered around the kids.
Um, well, I was a stay-at-home mom, so I didn't have to worry about looking in for, childcare or preschools and things like that. Um, because we had gone back and forth so many times, I knew the areas, I knew where I liked to be,
Hmm.
which was the East Valley. So it was just a matter of researching schools and for when they were a little bit older and trying to get a feel for what we could afford. Because obviously with a large family, and there were 6 of us, we needed to have space. And that's tough, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah.
Do you have any suggestions for resources for moms that, may be on their way here from California with kids, need to deal with childcare, curious about schools, comparing schools? When I think about it, my mind blows. It's like crazy.
Uh, Great Schools was a fantastic website to use.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's still up and running.
Mhm.
Because now my youngest is in college now, so
It's
it's
been a little while since you've looked
yeah,
at.
exactly. But I pulled up that website and just studied and researched the schools and the ratings, and that was a really big thing for me. I wanted to make sure they were in a good school system.
Mhm.
Um, Otherwise, it was, message boards. Message boards were huge. And then, this is pre-Facebook.
Right, right.
So, I went on to every board I could find and read. There's another website called citydata.com. It's city-data.com. They've got people posting on there for every city in the nation. So you can not only go into Phoenix, but you can go deeper into, different towns, Mesa, Gilbert, Chandler. And they also have a lot of information on there for statistics and the breakdown of, just ages of people who live there and the typical census data and everything.
Oh, nice.
So,
Demographics.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a really good site to use as well.
That's a great idea. Thank you for bringing that up, because I can't tell you how many moms that I've talked to that are moving into the area, and they're like, they don't know, they don't know our area from anywhere else in the world, and they're like, I just want a neighborhood with kids, and I want it family friendly, and near stuff that I'm going to want to do with my family, walking distance from parks, things like that. So it sounds like that website would be really helpful for that.
Oh, there's a lot of information, and if you have a question, you go on there, you ask your question, and you'll probably get dozens of responses within 24 hours, really.
Oh, that's awesome. And then, of
There's
course,
so many people.
moms groups and
Oh, yeah.
and things like that.
Huge resources. Yeah.
Totally agree. Moms are great resources.
Oh, yes.
What's the biggest difference that you've discovered between your home state and Arizona?
Obviously, it's hotter. Not by much, though, believe it or not, from the areas we lived in. Everything is just much cleaner and newer. And it sounds really silly. A lot of trees makes me claustrophobic. Well, yeah, because the one thing, the town that we're from, Ojai, they have a whole bunch of oak trees, and I'm allergic to oak trees.
Oh, gosh.
And you are not allowed to cut down an oak tree. You have to get permission from the town to cut it down. And so there are oak trees all over the town, in the street, where you're having to drive around them. And it's really strange. I like how this is open. You can just see the sky.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I love the weather. I love the blue skies. And it's just, I don't know, like I said, it's home. So, yeah.
Is there a part of town that's most like your home state in terms of like people or sports teams or scenery or just feel? Is there any place you can go and you're like, oh, this is like California?
Old Town Scottsdale.
Yes.
If you're thinking about where I came from, basically it's Old Town Scottsdale, but with a little bit more of a California Mission look to it. But yes.
Love it. Great advice. What do you wish you knew before you moved that you know
now? That's a good question. I probably would have liked to have had more of an anchor of somebody who knew the smaller details for the area that I was looking into. Like, for instance, when we bought not this house, but the last house when we moved back in here from Florida, I had a friend who was an agent out here in Phoenix, but she's on the west side. So she didn't know anything about the east side at all. And if I didn't know enough already, I would have been more uncomfortable with moving back into the area. So that's always a big thing, to know that you have somebody who's actually here. I mean, when we bought this house, I had JD. Mm-hmm. So, she knew Eastmark. She knew exactly what was going on at all times, and that was a huge help for me. So I wish I had had that in other cases.
Totally agree. I think JD knows more about Eastmark than Eastmark knows about Eastmark.
Yeah, I think so too.
Pretty good. Last question. Any advice you'd like to offer for families looking to move to Arizona from California?
First off, feel free to hit me up because I can tell you a whole lot of stuff. Basically, just be prepared for a little bit of a living style change. Yes, it's very hot during the day, especially during the summer. You have to get used to that. But it doesn't mean that you are stuck in your house all day long, every single day. You can get out. You can do things. There are things you can do. You can cool off. But, get used to doing things a little bit more in the evening or in the night hours or in the early mornings. And it's beautiful. I mean, you actually are experiencing more life outside at these other hours that you wouldn't normally do in other locations.
Totally
Take
agree. I
advantage
walk
of
my
it.
dog at night in the summer.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
I
It's
love it.
I love the smell when it's really
Yes, especially after a rain. The monsoon storms. That was the one thing I always missed too, was the monsoon storms. I was so excited when I came back.
I agree.
I just love it.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Yvonne. It was so nice to visit with you. Really
I
appreciate
know.
your advice and the information and sharing your experiences with our mamas.
Sure. Thank you for inviting me.
Very welcome. Bye bye.
Bye.